want to ask the questions, and he tried to do that, and I think he did it very well.
What actually does Club Brute affect?
The hard work of rebuilding the garden began.
You know, Carol, if you ask me, you're wasting your time.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go.
The moment of truth.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Big, happy 25th birthday to all at Beechgrove.
Welcome. I'm just talking about the weather. It is freezing cold up here.
The vagaries of the Scottish weather, rather than try and hide it and pretend that every day that we go out filming it's perfect weather, we showed it warts and all.
I think you should go away inside. It's turning blue.
Definitely going inside. Come rain or shine, though, we always have to do the programme. We have a certain day for recording the programme, so whatever, we have to go ahead.
We have a band of wet weather gradually
I
spreading.
feel really sorry, for example, with Leslie when she's done some of her problem corners. She's had so many wet days.
Particularly when we were trying to put in some posts with post mix, and we had to add a certain amount of water. We realised we didn't have to add any water. We threw the post mix into the hole we'd dug and just stirred it with a stick.
What about this weather, girl? I'm not going to comment on the weather at all, are we? Lovely April showers.
It's just dreadful.
It's become more unsettled. We don't get the 3 or 4 week blocks of weather that we used to, even just 10 years ago.
Winters have become milder. We have had less frost and less snow.
I don't know if we're going to grow pineapples for a year or two yet, you know, but it is changing.
Well, it's beautiful at the moment, but it might not last.
Happy birthday, Beechgrove.
The real reason I'm here, actually, is to have a go at the broccoli. But, hold on. I'm passionate about fruit and vegetables.
Jim, tomatoes, McCall.
He's always seen eating an apple or you name it. He just really enjoys that kind of thing.
I bet they're quite succulent. How does that taste then?
Like a radish.
I think George was passionate about dung.
Well, it has to be muck, doesn't it?
George, I'm needing some dung.
Aye. It's a grand load of stuff, eh? Man, that's bonny rotten stuff.
Well, Leslie, I think it's pretty obvious. She loves purple.
She looks great in it, and those tend to be the colours she chooses in her gardens. This I love. If I had to have a favourite clematis, it would be this one.
Clematis or clematis, whichever way you want to say it, she wants to grow those in the garden.
Every garden's got room for at least 6 clematis.
I hate to think what will happen if they produce a really stonking tartan clematis. She'll know Ken what to wear.
A farmer friend of mine is that, well, he's given me this, but he didn't know I was going to paint it green, so I hope he doesn't mind. Caroline is passionate about colour.
I think colour is very important to Caroline.
Just anything that makes a garden vibrant and really, really lively. To contrast with that, I like the silver helichrysum, because I think that colour and that go well together.
Caroline Smillie has a passion for coloured fingernails.
I unfortunately don't have Caroline's nails, and I'm always incredibly jealous and eager to see every week what colour they're going to be painted.
Bill has a passion which now I share.
I'm kind of daft about orchids.
Bill is passionate about orchids and is a very skilled grower.
I remember 1 week Gwyneth saying, OK, next week we're doing a 6-minute piece on orchids. And you're doing it.
Well, we just have 1 or 2, yeah.
1 or 200 more like.
Happy 25th birthday, Beechgrove.
In the winter of '95, the garden moved to a new site 7 miles west of Aberdeen.
Now, at the beginning of tonight's programme, I mentioned the fact that we were moving the Beechgrove Garden next year, and this is to be the new site. It's huge, Carol.
It is. It really is some size.
At long last, we had a wee bit of elbow room, and we could indulge ourselves in whatever part of the garden was. I mean, for example, we've now got a decent lawn to have a go at.
Having that amount of space to play with is fantastic.
When I was asked to design the Beechgrove Garden, it's a large site, it's 2.5 acres, and I thought it's going to have to be brought down to scale into things that people can actually relate to.
I couldn't believe when I was asked to design this new project. I really thought they'd got the wrong person, and they would suddenly go, oops, I'm sorry, I thought you were somebody else. Oh no, you can't do it.
You obviously haven't broken sweat yet.
Carol did a seaside garden. Caroline did the low maintenance garden, and I did the garden for life.
It's important to take time out and just sit and relax.
Leslie and Jim are in what can only be described as a hole in the ground.
Happy birthday, Beechgrove!
I love going to visit other people's gardens. That's fantastic, what we call the Through the Garden Gate.
I think the Through the Garden Gates are really important because not only does the programme tell you how to do things, how to get your garden started, how to make things work and grow, once you've seen that part, you then have inspiration to get growing.
Welcome aboard the little gem, Bill. What you see here is more or less on a shoestring.
You're an inspiration. Do you realise that?
Really are. You think so?
I think so.
I promise you, I can remember every single one. But more importantly, I think why I remember the gardens is because I remember the people.
I thoroughly enjoyed the visit to the Solway, to Dr. Peyton's garden. She was a very shy lady, but once you start people talking about the garden, shyness goes out the window.
The branches grow up and form another layer as they grow, and this one I like to keep low.
I can remember the visit quite well because my wife and I thought that she would do most of the talking because she knew about the garden and I didn't, but that was not to the liking of the producers because the whole idea was to find celebs who would talk about their gardens, and I knew nothing about it. So I went stumbling around the garden saying, I think these are potatoes and these must be roses, and oh, there's a bird up in the laburnum tree. And look at the thrush feeding its young up there.
I was not an expert in any manner of means in 1995. I'd only been chairman for about 3 years, and I felt an awful fraud, you know, talking knowledgeably about corridors for wildlife and this kind of thing. And I didn't really know, but Bill Torrance helped me immensely, and the whole team did. It's a very good production team. You're not bad, you lot.
These gardens are nurseries and cradles for wildlife of all kinds.
In the early days, some of the presenters were also the full-time Beechgrove gardeners. This is no longer the case.
It's great fun, but it's a massive challenge. Instead of just running a garden that has to follow its own timetable, we've got to follow the timetable of the filming. So we've got camera people in and producers and directors all coming around the garden one day a week, and we've got to have everything just bang on for that. So
watching the Beechgrove 1 week and then say a couple of weeks later being involved and actually being on it was just unbelievable for me. It was a life-changing moment, and I've got Jim McCall to thank for that.
I don't have any favourite memories I can think of, but there's one memory that still horrifies me. Is finding out I'd sprayed part of the main lawn with a Roundup weed killer, so that was not a good day.
Oh dear, Stephen, the producer didn't know that until now.
Happy 25th birthday, Beechgrove.
They did a superb job. They did it very, very humorously as well.
They're unique. They're definitely memorable. I'm home all alone.
Gardening's got to be fun, and the hit squad was a lot of fun.
Yeah, James. Oh, lovely. Beauty.
That for me, that was the golden age, you know, when Walter and Jim were going around, and they were just they had so much character.
I think there was an awful lot of letters coming to the studio for people wanting help. And what better way was it to put a couple of guys together and help people over their problems actually on camera.
I think the Hit Squad were a great team together. They really bounced off one another.
It was one of the directors on the programme that suddenly thought up the idea, and initially I was quite taken aback at the thought of Walter and I, because we're complete opposites really, but somehow or other it worked.
Jim and I, we had our arguments, right enough, possibly off camera, but at the same time we always come to the same decision.
This is going to be a doddle.
Is that right?
Aye.
Well, I've got news for you, son, because we're not doing it here.
Aye.
We're doing it there.
What?
We proved without a shadow of a doubt that you could garden anywhere. You know, there was no restrictions.
No.
You know, whether it was the climate or the horrible concrete or whatever it was. You just overcome. If you want a garden, you'll have a garden. And